Hi, welcome back to Dungeons Dyslexia. My name's Adrian, and today I'm joined with special guest Bonsart from Radio Retro Future YouTube channel.
Yes.
Game book publisher now? Is that?
Well,
Yeah.
working hard on that. I do have the prototype here for Nightwatch, which is our first player guide. And actually, I started out as a YouTuber. I'm from the Netherlands, by the way, but I guess we'll get just straight in.
Yeah,
Um,
jump
so
in, it's fine.
Yeah, so I'm a YouTuber who makes a lot of videos on steampunk. I made a series called the Steampunk Beginner Guide, among other video series, and eventually I started talking more and more about writing. That kind of like inspired me to, kind of put my money where my mouth is and started writing my own steampunk series that I called the Association of Ishtar. And it started with a whole bunch of short stories, like I publish in these little anthologies. And this eventually led to my first novel, The Wrench in the Machine, which happened to be free this weekend.
On Amazon. Yes, it
So
was. Yes.
on Amazon, yeah. So nearly 150 copies were taken this weekend. So
Oh,
that's
that's
awesome.
amazing. Because it's one of those things. One of my friends was trying to, I say he tried and then quit trying to sell on Amazon. And that's a really good number. People have this real weird thing, don't they? Because you've got no frame of reference for what's a good amount sold, giving away books, whatever it
Yeah.
may be.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I mean, I've been already building. I mean, for me, well, the Kickstarter campaign for Nightwatch in that regard is a very new experience. Like this is my fourth Kickstarter. I did one for Bound for the Sticks. That's my second Kickstarter, which is kind of the second novel in the series. The last one was the Casket Girls, which is probably one of the more popular miniseries set in the same universe, which is kind of like steampunk mech warrior, which also has its own miniatures, which will be selling during the Kickstarter.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so what's new about this? It is Nightwatch is a collaboration between an American upcoming publisher, Night Cabinet Games, and he was a fan of my first novel, The Wrench in the Machine, which was on promotion this weekend. And he said, like, would you want to make a role playing game based on this? And it was something originally I wanted to do. I wanted to do something like that somewhere down the line, but I was like, yeah, in 5 years, when I have an audience. But he came up to me and said, "Do you want to do it now?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Because it gave me a different, way to expand on stuff and do that. And I was already working on miniatures, so we already got some of those printed as well.
So, is there
And
anything before you go on? Is there anything you don't do?
the video games not yet.
Right. Okay. It's coming. It's coming.
But a lot of people have asked for, is there gonna be a video game? And I will be talking with somebody who has connections to the German video game industry. So who knows? I think the setting definitely lends itself for it. Um, but maybe we can touch upon that later. But yeah, so what's so special about this project for me? Like, this is the first time I invest as much money into a project as I've done. Like, I already feel like I'm kind of shooting myself into the foot by adding so many illustrations to my book. So constantly, I kind of like play even. Last year, I kind of broke even, like on everything, like all the art and everything included. So that I was very happy with. But then I started on this, so I'm pretty much back to zero in that regard. But that said, thanks to this project, I'm now working with a German game studio on a board game, which I hope to talk about in a year or so. That's currently we're still working out like what we want the system to be and what we want to achieve there. Um, but yeah, so that's already in development thanks to this. And people are really like, oh wow, there's a game system, and people love the art, most of which is done by Johan Alexander, who's from Indonesia. Kind of feel very fortunate that I found him because not only is he extremely good, he's also very prolific. He also has his own steampunk series set in the Dutch Indies, and my family's from the Dutch Indies, so we bond over that as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. I actually already, like, one thing he also liked that I had already written a story set in this world's version of the Dutch Indies. So yeah, because I, as a child, like, my mother had what we call camp syndrome here in the Netherlands. Because she, my uncle, and my mother were in the Japanese prison camps.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and that's something I did not understand as a child.
Yeah.
That's something that I only got to appreciate as an adult. When you grow older and you realize that things as they were back home is not the norm. So that had a profound influence on my writing. But now there are more adults of my generation talking about their parents and camp syndrome, because it's a very specific form of PTSD. It's not like other PTSD diagnoses. That's so strange about it, right? Because when many people came from the Nazi prison camps, they were very open about their experiences, but not the Dutch colonists for some reason. Like, my mother outspokenly refused to talk about it. And that's for some, I don't know why that is. Well, I have some ideas which I don't want to get into, but definitely that need to stay quiet about what happened in the camps. That's very prolific around the Dutch war survivors. But yeah, that's so. My point on that is, like, it's something that was a very big inspiration for me, and I'm writing my own steampunk series. And where I actually wanted to go to,
no, it's fine. Carry on.
Yeah, so where I actually wanted to go to is, like, I'm investing a lot of money in marketing, and one of the strategies, we're working with Launchboom. They do a lot of Kickstarters, some of which have made money into the millions. And for them, one of their strategies is to really build up through the funnel that I shared with you. That's their software, and they make people subscribe to your newsletter. And that newsletter I used for marketing the free promotion.
Yeah.
Right. But now I'm also getting mixed audiences. Like, I've got a group of people who are subscribing to the Kickstarter side of things, like to the RPG side of things.
Yeah.
And there are now also people subscribing to the book side of things. And that's kind of like my big challenge, is to, keep both of those two forces engaged.
Because I guess it's two different markets as well. Obviously, there is a crossover point between people that
of course
read sort of novels and role play, but it's I guess if you can get them to cross completely, that's your perfect touchstone, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and that's kind of like the audience. That's my super fan, as we call it in the biz.
Yeah. Yeah, no, cool. Right, what I want to try and do is, I'm hoping this works, because this is the... I want to try and show your Kickstarter video, if I can get that to work. I have actually just found something else as well, but let's see if I can get this to work. Right, can we see this?
I can see it.
That's cool, right.
Greetings and welcome to an alternate 19th century.
Right, that is not going through. I knew this was going to happen. Hold on.
It's coming through on my side. So.
Yeah, what it didn't do is it doesn't seem to be...
Let me mute my microphone when you play.
Greetings and welcome to an alternate 19th century, a time where anomalies called rifts are appearing across the globe. Gateways to other worlds, some of which are feral, but others are the home of lost civilizations whose mechanical marvels remain. This caused an influx of technological innovations, but also alien threats who seek to plunge this world into peril. The Association of Ishtar is the first line of defense, observing the invaders and their collaborators from the shadows like an internal Nightwatch. Explore other worlds and dive into an alternate past in which futuristic technologies clash with the uncanny. Nightwatch is a fast-paced light tabletop RPG set in the Association of Ishtar universe. It has an easy-to-learn skill system. Its fortune cards allow players to bring combat environments to life, play as whatever you want. A mech pilot, an associate, a racketeer selling technology to the highest bidder. Protect your world. Embrace the change in Nightwatch. Coming soon to Kickstarter.
That's bloody amazing. I deliberately didn't watch that because you sent it to me last week, and I was like, I'm not going to watch this. I don't want to watch this. I'm going to do a bit of reading because I want to be. That's ace. That's actually ace because I what I really like about it is obviously it's not only steampunk, but you got the alien stuff and all the portals and all that, which I was expecting a out and out standard steampunk world, and it's not. It's just that and so much more with mechs. That's absolutely amazing. That's ace.
Yeah, no, it's unironically, I think it's probably one of the most expensive steampunk settings out there. Like I said, we don't just have robots; we actually have like an incomplete history about what created them, which I talk about in the last two lore videos, which is about essentially how the robots came to be. Because I wanted to be actual alternate history steampunk. For me, steampunk is cyberpunk in the past, and most of what people call steampunk is Gaslamp fantasy, or just owl and out fantasy with a steampunk skin. And you cannot really get very far with it because it's essentially it's a bunch of fantasy tropes, but they look Victorian. I really wanted to have like this alternate history in which you have like these kind of like mech robots and all that stuff. And like for instance, we do have miniatures of the CB3, which is the OG mech in this universe. And
is
of
that,
course,
is that the one with the busty tattooed lady in?
Yeah, she's piloting one of those.
Yeah. That may have caught my attention somewhat.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, it is probably one of the best pieces of art overall, apart from the busts. But there are a lot of people who really like the boobage in that one, including the women. It can be helped. We'll
just put this back on for a little quick second before we get back into this. So, do you want to just? I knew you had some books, well, novels or novellas. I don't know.
Both. Also comics. Yeah, we actually one of them is actually free on globalcomics.com.
Yeah.
So we hope to continue that once Johan is done with the art for this. So we can work on that. That's one of the reasons why we have not worked on part 2 yet. This is simply time.
Yeah. So I'm my follow-up question is going out the window now. Because I'm a massive history buff to the extent where I
then you're gonna love this.
But yeah, I bore my children to death. So I now want to know because you said you've got your all history in it. Can you go back to where our history sort of changes and your history began on the starting point?
Well, the kind of like the divergence start in 1792, as stated in the video, where the Elysium object appears in the night sky.
Yeah.
And essentially, a lot of things go as they used to go. Napoleon comes into power. But when he cannot defeat England at sea, he starts launching rockets at England.
That's what I wanted to hear. Where it just the tangent from our timeline. Because if you're not a history buff, you're probably not aware that Napoleon didn't launch rockets at England.
Yeah, exactly. So and the Allies are like, where the hell did that come from? Now, there's a video dedicated to this particular history, so you actually learn new stuff in the videos
Right,
that's not
okay.
talked about. In the videos, I really talk about like the history itself. The books is really like about the characters living in this world and coming across all these strange anomalies and alien influences. But there is this guy, Ghulam Ali. He is the cousin of Tipu Sultan, big uh, Indian, either war hero or genocidal maniac, depending on whose side of the discussion you're asking.
Yeah.
But he was a big enemy of the British. Like he was the enemy
Yeah.
at the time. Eventually, he lost. However, he was also allied with the French at the time.
Right, okay.
Not that it really benefited him, but at the time there was a conspiracy concocted by the East India Company, claiming that he was like a converted Jacobin, and that the French had like this made that entire empire Jacobin, and that they swore to kill all kings, well, except for Tipu Sultan, of course. So there's this entire Jacobin conspiracy forged around it as well. Which I found was very entertaining. However, what's also special about them is that they were the pioneers of rocket infantry in the world.
Right, okay.
Like the Chinese did something like that, but they actually had like you know the Congreve rocket.
Yes.
No, that's actually just based on the Indian version of it.
Right, okay.
I forgot the king. I forgot the name, but they called it like their rockets, and then you had the Congreve rocket, which was almost a direct copy of that one. So that's actually an Indian invention, and that's kind of where I made the link. Like, oh, this guy would be perfect. But also because they had a big a big interest in French literature, so they were very familiar with the early science fiction literature, and this inspired a certain young boy in Mysore, the Mysore rocket. That's it, in Mysore, and he would become like try to develop this rocket further, and eventually he went to Paris. And while he was there, Mysore fell to the English. Then he started to work for Napoleon, who created an institution called the Académie d'Aéronautique, which was supposed to be like this academy dedicated to flight. But it turned out, or at least they suspect, it was used for all kinds of reverse engineering for technology they retrieved from behind the rifts. Retrieving technology from behind the rift is not that simple, because everything in this universe gets affected by something called Traveler's Decay, which basically just destroys everything within 40 days. So there's this entire pipeline created in order to like, okay, we can retrieve books from the other side. Then we need people who like photocopy the books or transcribe the books. So they have to develop this entire system for it. So you cannot just take like a robot from the other side and then start your world conquest. That's not going to happen. And it's also so people, because this was also intended as a collaborative project where people could like write their own steampunk settings without having to take into account like all these other worlds that could potentially influence it, like in the Marvel universe. So it's not that type of type of multiverse. It's really to explore alternate steampunk settings that develop on their own pace, as it were, or not. Who knows? But so I'm also trying to like train people like, okay, this, if you want to write for the Association of Ishtar, this is like how I want you to pitch your ideas, how you like flesh out the short stories, and how you build your worlds. So there's also a level of consistency and quality to everything. Those are kind of like the highlights for now.
Yeah. Cool. So how far from 1792 have you gone? Did Napoleon win?
Nightwatch stops in 1869.
Yeah.
This is kind of like I'm kind of using kind of like a Hegelian framework of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So those are kind of like 3 eras that I wanna portray up to 1900, so to speak. And right now we're in the thesis era where everything is pretty much as you remember it, except there's now an organization called the International Authority of Rift-Related Activity that monitor like the rifts as they're popping up, and they're trying to catalog like all the reverse engineer technologies. But the problem they're running into, there's just too much.
Yeah.
Because like consumer level technology is already like somewhere close to the 1920s. So that's also like I really describe in the rule book, and I'm now working on a separate lore compendium, so I'm trimming down the lore in the core rule book itself. And that's kind of like the problem that like everyone acknowledges there's a problem, but they're distracted by other problems to actually really do anything about it. So Raw is kind of like this half-assed organization that's kind of running after everything.
Yeah.
And this is where the Association of Ishtar kind of comes in, because they're kind of like the Shadow as an organization. If you know the pulp hero, the Shadow.
Yes.
Was like really this adventure character, just destroying whoever it considers evil, and that's kind of like what the association is like.
So you've got cults, alternate history, steampunk, Big Macs. Any supernatural in there?
Well, I prefer to call it the preternatural, but there's definitely like alien creatures that have like unexplained qualities to them.
Yeah.
Be it like strange modes of levitation, but I try to like sell it kind of like Clark in a Clark Tech-esque way. Like it could be possible, but like when dealing with fantasy tropes, you're really walking a fine line. We do have like creatures like this, for example. This is based on a creature from Flemish mythology, from Belgium. It's called the Kludde. And it's probably one of the most OP cryptids I know, because it's a changeling, but also if you are near it, you simply lose the will to live. You just become completely apathetic.
That's like the most OP.
Yes.
Thing.
So and then that's just one of the OP qualities. He has more.
Yeah.
But I am definitely playing with ideas for fantasy tropes, also to kind of like please the Gaslamp audience. And we have ideas for something close to magic, because 19th century is big on occultism.
Yeah.
But I pitched it, and a lot of people really love the ideas. But it also was kind of like doesn't really feel like the Association of Ishtar anymore, and so that's kind of like the issue with it. And like I already have a lot of ideas where it will really play an important part of like the larger storyline, but it's something that I need to experiment more with, also in the stories, on how to keep it a mystery.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the problem when you're developing a role-playing game, that you need to explain everything, because everything needs to have rules. And I mean, in book form, that it is not as, because people want to read a story, they don't want to read your math homework. So that's kind of
yeah. Give me the conclusion. So
yeah. Kind of find that balance between, okay, it's still, because when you explain things, it also stops being horror and it just becomes like this mundane force in your world. So that's kind of like the challenge that I have as a writer.
Yeah.
To keep
Okay.
it engaging and interesting.
So speaking of mechanics, have you designed the game mechanics from ground up, or is it you've taken?
I don't know if you've checked out the core rulebook, but
No, because
it's loosely based on Savage Worlds. What did you want to ask?
Okay, I was going to say that what you sent me only had about 3 pages on it, with something I couldn't actually get into anything larger. To
Oh, okay.
So, but
Yeah, it was
that's probably
the
a me
hub
issue.
document, probably. Yeah, that was probably the hub document, and there all the PDFs are linked.
Ah, see again, it's this is what happens when you deal with mostly idiots.
Yeah. So, but
Uh,
yeah, then you could see like how far the projects are developed. But
Savage Worlds is
yeah,
good. It's a, as you can see over that shoulder. I have a fondness for Savage Worlds, so
mhm.
that's good.
Yeah, we pitched it to the people of Savage Worlds as well.
Pinnacle.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
seemed very impressed with it. In fact, but it wasn't the rules of Savage Worlds because I stripped out all the number crunching. Um, so we have a very similar dice roll mechanic as Savage Worlds. But we also have a card system called Fortune cards, which kind of they're basically the puppet master, as the game master is called in our game, has a deck of 10 cards which can be combined from various sets that we have. We try to make the system print and play, so we have like the PDFs of the cards for you to print out yourself.
So
And
these are what you're on about then, isn't it? These
yeah,
cards, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, these are the old designs. Now we have new designs. Um, so I should probably replace that image soon. But yeah, the number in the lower bottom, that is the initiative number.
Right.
Which
Okay.
no. However, like I said, there's a deck of 10 cards that can be assembled from various sets or make your own cards, and they are drawn randomly for each player plus the PM. So let's say you have 3 players and a game master. That's 4 cards. Then you can pick the cards either for their initiative number, who goes first.
Yeah.
The top square, that's a
Oh.
fortune.
Let's just go back to that. Then.
That's a ability that the players will get that round.
Okay.
Or an option.
Yeah.
And the lower one is the misfortune. That one is for the PM if he gets to pick that card.
Oh, that's really sweet. So you've got the element of Savage Worlds, or even sort of year zero. So you deal in random cards for initiative, and then you get a certain amount that you have. And as the player, you can either use the card for initiative or use the top box as the GM or puppet master. I think you said it's called.
Yeah.
You get the initiative, or you get the misfortune bit.
Yes.
That's really cool.
So so we have like for the people who become VIPs for $1, they'll get the special environments pack, which will give them like environmental specific fortune cards.
Yeah.
So if you have like a battle in a swamp, we have a swamp set. We have a what was it? We have a swamp set, we have a fog set, and we have another one which I forgot. Maybe it was the ruins or facility one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like kind of like our idea for faction expansions, because we got a lot of factions in our world. Again, they're all in the lore, all linked in the hub document. We kind of want, instead of books, you can get like the card sets instead. We'll have like new monsters and fortunes to go with them. So if you fight like a particular cult, the cult will have its own kind of fortune cards, which are more supernatural in theme.
And they're going to again be print on demand. Well, print on demand alongside the Kickstarter.
Well, the challenge is with cards is that I need to like order a specific number.
Yeah.
But we do have a digital version.
That's what I meant. I meant digital, not print on demand.
Yeah, and then you can print them yourself.
But
we also have I've also tried to, as a stretch goal, I'll also add a tabletop simulator in there as well. So people can use tabletop simulator, maybe with the 3D miniatures included. I need to see how difficult that is. We've got more STLs in development, including a new Mac, and yeah.
So I assume that with all this going on, this is now your full-time job. Do you balance a full-time job in between this? As well?
I still need to balance this with a job, unfortunately.
So you don't really like sleeping and having weekends, I assume.
No.
It's overrated anyway, isn't it? Time off work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of got started with the books during the Coof period.
Yeah.
So yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of my friends kind of like stayed inside that phase. So
Yeah, that's well, I don't want to talk about it too much because it tends to bring out the good or bad in people. But it did change some people's lives, for
yeah.
as in motivate people to go and do something different.
Either people got motivated to do stuff they never got to do before, and other never left goblin mode.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, I know a lot of such people.
yeah, yeah. No, that's actually right. So what we'll do is let's have a look at the Kickstarter page. So this is your pre-Kickstarter page. Now I'm gonna get back to the top. So this is what I'll share this in
Yeah,
the description of the video. So
yeah.
this
This
is
is
your
the funnel where you can join our newsletter and become a VIP. Yes.
yeah. So this is the link. Obviously, it's just putting your email in there, and this just explains a bit, and obviously some of the amazing art. So it's the same artist throughout, pretty much, isn't it? It's this is
Yes.
the
Yes.
same guy, yeah. We'll just we'll just read this bit and pretend we're not looking at the photo, the image for a little while. So 19th century alternate stuff. So obviously based on the books. And what's the VIP going to get you? Was it the cards? Did you say?
Well, you're gonna in the Kickstarter. We of course have 4 books: a core rule guide, a player guide, which is basically the slimmed down version.
Yeah,
Then we have the new lore book, Rising Tide, which goes into the depth of the history of the Netherlands, a lot of about daily life in the Netherlands, or I should say the Dutch Commonwealth, because it still includes Belgium.
yeah,
And of course, the history of Raw. Um, and we also have like some like new example characters in there as well, with some new backgrounds and traits and character building ideas. Um,
Can people get
and
into beta testing if they want to, or is that a
yes,
bit? Yeah,
if you join our Discord, we have a channel there called Playtesting, and yeah, you can join it, play by yourself, or organize a playtest on the Discord, and comment on it. Let us know what you didn't understand, what you would like to be included, or just plain sucks. I mean, the more feedback we get, the more better we can make the game. And of course, anyone who gives like valuable feedback will also get a special mention in
yeah,
the book as
yeah.
well.
I think that's the thing I found from talking since the short time I've had this channel, speaking to other sort of game designers, and they're like, they get people wanting to join the alpha and beta testing, and then they send stuff out and then they never hear back, and they're like, it's not helpful. The idea
Mm-hmm.
is, you want to be blind testing people, you want people to, come back and go, actually, I didn't understand this, and this is what I don't get.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can amend the rule book. So because one of the biggest issues I hear about writing rule books is you already know the game, so it's easy to write a rule book coming at it from a position of authority and knowledge and skills, where what you need to do is get it across to people that know nothing, so they can
Yeah.
play the game quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I got a very in-depth review of Apple's Games, a Dutch TTRPG publisher, and said, well, actually, because I got a lot of like praise so far, like Barlow Keep, fellow YouTuber, enjoyed the system a lot.
Yeah.
Brian, what's his channel called again? I forgot what it is called, but he also made a very lovely review. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, all the praise is lovely, but it does not really help you. Like, it gives you confidence, but it doesn't help you really like put in the effort of like, okay, I need to fix this shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You
but
want issues as
overall,
well, don't you? That's the thing. Tell us what's
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, exactly. Well, especially those because then you can fix them, right?
Yeah.
You are ignorant of the things you don't know. That's kind of the problem. And that's why I did a massive overhaul of the layout and the rules, because I got that feedback like, well, it's a simple system, but the explanation is far too difficult, you know. So that's the last thing you want to hear when you're trying to make like a light RPG, you know.
But
but
Savage Worlds is the same though. Well, most systems are they're really light until you start actually doing something, and players try to get clever as opposed to just rolling dice based on the character sheet. And
yeah.
that's the only time that you really know how good or bad a system is.
Yeah, well, I mean, with Savage Worlds, like there are a lot of ideas I liked in the combat system, but then I tried to like do some play tests with them, and then I thought, oh my god, this is bogging down everything.
Yeah.
So and then I took them out, and like all the number crunching. And one thing that I think a lot of game masters really like about this particular system is that the game masters have full control over what players need to throw to complete a challenge.
Yeah.
Because when I was game mastering, for example, things like Shadowrun, I got oh, I have this challenge for you, and it's supposed to be this super intensive challenge. Okay, well, let me just get out my 30 dice. Okay, I've got 12 successes. What do I get? You know, it's stuff like that is that kind of like really bugged me as a GM. Where you're trying to make an interesting challenge, but like because especially people who come from D&D, they're really into this Munchkin mindset of min-maxing characters, where the challenges become farcical because the system is not really calculated for such play in often cases, despite they are giving players those options. So I made Nightwatch in a way that instead of augmenting the results of players, where you will get like a +5 on your rolls, instead they lower or increase the difficulty.
Okay, so it kind of goes backwards.
Yeah, and so, but I mean, the PM will always decide the difficulty. So, like I also added a piece in there yesterday about how PMs should use the target number, the TN as it is called, is really like, okay, you've got your guy's like a master locksmith. He maxed out all of his lock pick related skills, but you're still in control of the TN. And if you want to have like a challenge for your players, you want them to have like at least a 66% of failure. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's so kind of, but on the other end, this guy's the only one who can pick the lock.
Yeah, because those things can always be quite difficult as well, can't they? Because, if you've got one player that needs to succeed and then they don't succeed, it can sometimes just sort of stop everything dead, which can be a little bit awkward. So what I'll do now is let's just have a look at the new Kickstarter page. Then we'll get into the rule book and have a look at, now I've managed to get the link as we were talking. I've managed to get the link working, so it means we can actually have a look at the work in progress rulebook. But this is your current Kickstarter page, yeah?
Yes, that's Kickstarter page itself with 300 past the 350 followers, so that's amazing. So,
yeah, so we've got the notifier.
I passed 100 followers before, but not 350, so yeah.
The one thing it won't let me do, oh no, it might do actually if I click on that bit. I said that's the only bit I was looking at. So that's the video.
You can also see my previous Kickstarters.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to share the previous projects. So here's the front art. Is that set now? The front art?
No, that's still the old version. The new version I still need to include in the promotion stuff. But I was experimenting with that for a long time to get it just right, Yeah. But I can let me see if I have it. If I can share it with you in chat real quick.
Do you want me to unshare the screen and then can you share your end?
Let me see. Can I? Let me see. I guess I can. Like this is the new player's guide, or at least a version of it.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the new player's guide cover. Let me see if I have a finished version. Let me see. What is the recent one? Like, I'm still experimenting with it. This is a version of the new player guide that also has
That
the
is
max.
sweet. I'm not saying that the other one isn't sweet. That's really. I love the little Cthulhu type tentacles, even though it could be an octopus, anything really by that point, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, that's nice about it. And this is the one for the upcoming lore book.
Sweet.
And there's also going to be a special anthology, but I have not made a core book for that. That will likely be very similar in the vein to the one that I showed at the start of the show.
Yeah.
Which is going to be talking about like specifically the stuff, the short stories that kind of like inspired like the larger world building esque elements. And here you can also see in the background the moon with the Elysium object drifting beside the statue. So yeah, that's something that's always looming over there,
Yeah.
over that world, like a lost church bell. So that's kind of the idea for that.
It's just absolutely amazing, really, that there's just so much there. That because steampunk, you probably need to come up with really a different world for it, a different title.
Yeah,
Because steampunk
I've
implies just such a small aspect of what you've built.
Yeah, I mean, I've asked that to people, and the only answer I once got was like robot punk. It's like, really? But no, like it really turned into its own thing, really. And yeah, I don't know, like there's like, especially when it comes to vague things like diesel punk, which I looked up. Like, I use Publisher Rocket. I don't know if you're familiar with that software.
No.
It's especially made for people who want to market books on places like KDP, Amazon.
Yeah.
And it gives you like all these wonderful analytics. And now it's still a one-time purchase, but soon they're going to change to subscription. So for any aspiring authors out there, last chance to get Publisher Rocket. This is not a sponsored ad, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Get it on it quickly.
It's a very interesting tool. And you can like check out all these various like search terms,
Yeah.
And yeah, if you look for diesel punk, no one is looking for diesel punk, right?
No, that's it, isn't it? It's coming up with, if you think about when the Shaun of the Dead was out, the rom-com thing that it became, because obviously it's not a zombie film, it's not a comedy film. Sorry, it's a zombie film, it's a comedy film, it's a romantic comedy, so it basically created its own genre. That's what you need for this. You need something that basically people are aware that it's steampunk, but it's slightly more.
Yeah, I'm still struggling to figure out my keywords that I should use, and I've got terms now like dark steampunk and epic steampunk, and oh god, it's like something that keeps writers who market on Amazon awake at night. Like, what keyword should I use? It's
it is hard, isn't it? Because if you don't get it right, the algorithm doesn't pick it, and then you don't get pushed out. You just
well,
don't,
I mean, this
and
is
people
also
don't
why
search for it. It's
Yeah, and this is also why the numbers of reviews are important, because when people see a number of reviews, they're like, "Oh, at least this many people read the book before,"
Yeah. So character design obviously is going to be using archetypes. Then, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can make whatever you want.
Yeah. So they're not set archetypes. Then
it's not set archetypes. These are kind of the types of characters you can expect to create, like the Casket Girl, which is kind of like signature creatures of this universe now. The Airborne Dragoons, women like their men in uniform. Of course, the Associates of Ishtar themselves. We've got the Puppeteers, which is kind of like this version of hackers and drone controllers.
Right.
I've got a whole chapter dedicated to controlling drones. So those things especially still need a lot of playtesting. But yeah, that's you can make your own drones and control them essentially, but it's still all very primitive technology. So they need line of sight and all that type of nonsense. However, this universe also has its very own version of digital technology as well. We call it Pulse because of themes, but
Yeah.
there is early digital technology as well.
Yeah. So
But it's extremely rare.
This isn't going to get many no's, is it? Off anyone? 40k, Call of Cthulhu, Battletech, Frostpunk. Actually, I don't know what Hunt Showdown is. I don't know that. But Jules
No,
Verne.
it's the only video game I play.
Oh, it's a video game. Okay. That's why then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a kind of like a weird West extraction shooter. It's kind of like what birthed the extraction shooter genre, in fact, but it's still running strong.
Yeah.
And they have a new event. So if there are any Hunt Showdown players up there, join our Discord.
Yeah. I'll put the link to your Discord as well. So yeah, send me that and we'll make sure that comes in. Yep. So fortune cards, this is where you can do the link to get access to the fortune cards. So what else we got on here?
Factions.
Oh yeah, and you've got 1,000. Was it 4,000 factions?
Oh well, in the book we've got I think 20 at the moment, or 20. No, 16. I think we reduced it and included 20 in the new lore book, which has much of the same information as the core rule book, but we're gonna slim down the core rule book because some people thought it was too complete.
Yeah,
which might be a bit overwhelming for a game master. So if you're a game master, you want to comment on our lore that we've included so far, please let me know so I can adjust it.
Yeah, we'll drive as many people as we can to the Discord as well, because I think that's going to be key, isn't it? To help get that, and then obviously reviews from beta testers here, which is always good. Which obviously you can become part of. Yeah. And then D4 to D12, which is that is. Do you get the additional dice that's in Savage Worlds?
So we've got Surge. Yeah, I'm not sure what they call it in Savage Worlds, but we've got exploding dice mechanics. Yes.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we linked them to some perks that you can get like special actions instead of adding it to the result.
Good. I love exploding dice. It's my favorite dice mechanic.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like I find it very difficult to manage because we've got pretty low challenge ratings overall. Yeah. So we do have they can create critical hits. Like if you throw double the challenge rating, you'll get an additional success. If you throw triple amount the target rating, you get 3 successes. But
as I've gone on, I don't mind swingy damage anymore but you've just got to go into it from a player point of view and go, you can get swingy damage, but if you can, so's the puppet master. You just got to accept that now and again a basic first level goblin's going to kill your character because the dice explode.
Essentially. Well, here we only have a defense test. Like the monsters do not throw their own dice unless you make them like an agent, as we call them, which are basically the named NPCs. But we really streamlined the mechanics, so only the players throw. They throw a combat check to hit, and they make a defense check to resist the attack.
And can that explode? Can the defense?
The defense. Well, if the monsters do this much damage, and you throw disastrously low, you can indeed get double damage because you just fail to make any effort in your defense.
Yeah. I love that. It's the one thing that I like. Well, it's not the one thing, but like Mortborg and all those, I really like the players rolling their own demise. I think it's such a brilliant thing.
That's essentially what we've done, and that's also kind of like with the fortune card system. They choose their own demise as well.
Yeah.
Because I really want to have that powerful attack. I know that the DM will get this super powerful attack as well if I do not pick that other card, but that only one gives me a free action reload, and this one will give me this super attack. And I know that now all of my critical failures will be rolled on a combination of 1s to 3s, but
that's cool. That's absolutely brilliant. So you've got all the history, 22 factions, going to drop down to 20 or 16, obviously.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the lore book version, it's still, I think, 24, I think.
Yeah.
Because I got some more room. Like, actually, I forgot to include like a really big faction called Utterkrap, but they're massively important for the technological innovations in this world.
At least you picked it up now, because there's nothing worse than like, oh, we sent it to print. Did we? No?
Oh no,
okay.
it's just 22, but you're giving me more factions. Oh no, how dare you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm slowly getting into this. My wife bought me and kids bought me a 3D printer for my non 50th birthday, because I'm not that old. It was my 50th. And
Yeah,
I'm slowly
gotcha.
getting into 3D printing, which is it takes a lot of patience, doesn't it? Waiting for things to print.
Don't worry, you don't look a day over 60.
I know. Thank you. It's the glasses. So yeah, I am getting into this. So obviously, again, more videos. Right, what I want to do. Oh, you got your Discord here as well, actually. So that's good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
realistically, everyone should be able to pick it up from here. Because I didn't realize just how important and useful Discord actually is in the whole of this. You know, because it's a massive community that I wasn't aware of when I started on YouTube. I was just like, I'm just going to talk about books and dyslexia and stuff, and then see where it goes. And it's, you know, having Discord.
Actually, I also have dyslexic properties, so you're in good company.
Yeah, there's millions of us. We're between 10 to 20% of the population, and the thing that annoys me is it's not tested in school. You know, how is the most common?
It's very hard to deal with. Yeah, I mean, this is something that I ran into myself. But like, it's not necessarily even like a form of neurodivergence, because it's like linked to like which of your brain halves is more developed than the other, and that's like, yeah, in my case, you know, I'm a very visually oriented person, but I'm also a very chaotic person, and all of those things are related.
Yeah, and OCDs and all that. You know, I just now, most of my time is because people are like, how do you do a daily video and hold down a full-time job and walk the dogs and go to the gym and everything else? Because I just, once I get fixated on something, that's it. That's me done. You know, I will just keep doing this, and then one day I'm just going to stop and I won't do another video again. Because I'm not saying I'm stopping soon, I don't mean like that, but that's the way my brain works. You know, I started collecting whiskey, and all I did was buy whiskies for a long time. You know, and I've got a cupboard full of whiskey. I don't even drink the stuff anymore. It's just sat there.
No, I mean, that's like a trait of neurodivergence, right?
Yeah.
Like often a periods of 10 years. Well, I'm one of those borderline cases where it's almost impossible to determine, other than, you know, that one side of my brain is more developed than the other. But like, I managed to, like, when I started with this, I was really into costume and making and costumes and that type of stuff. Like, I was really into historical reenactment. But then I kind of made the jump to writing. And all of that kind of like flowed naturally from one and the other. Like, it's all one massive project for me that's interconnected. So we'll see where it ends up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not done with writing. But you know, I'm kind of, you know, I still want to make videos, but it's just hard to, like, I've got too many hobbies, kind of like time management problems. Like, I started working on a new video on steampunk cities, and I love making those videos, and I even am guilty of listening to my own videos from time to time. Like, what was I saying in that video? You know, because again, they're very focused on history, and you know, because then I was really into a subject, and it was like, okay, I need to listen back to this and what's going through my mind back then, especially with the city video. But yeah, so if you love history, writing, and steampunk, go to my channel, Radio Retro Future. We've got lore videos, and yeah, I hope to do like let's plays and stuff like that as too. Do you know the guys who are making Hunter the Parenting?
No.
No, they're originally they made a Warhammer 40k series called "If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device."
Yeah.
If you have not watched it yet, I highly recommend you do. But they stopped it because of Games Workshop.
There's a surprise.
Yeah, and now they're doing Hunter the Parenting, which is kind of similar in style, but now they have their own artists working on it, which is about basically characters who look like a lot of Warhammer 40k Primarchs, and of course the Emperor, except now the Emperor is called Big D, and he's a hunter in the World of Darkness universe.
Yeah.
He's like this. Well, I wouldn't say bipolar, but a very abrasive guy, and his sons who look like some of the Primarchs, and they're hunting vampires and other monsters.
I do love it when creative minds get cease and desists from big companies, and then they go out their way to make something as close as they can to parody what they've been told they can't do within legal parameters as a kind of FU to the companies.
I have not. I didn't look at it this way. I was just thinking like, oh, this is just their brand because it's the same voice actors using the same voices.
Yeah,
you know. And then one of the guys was doing Magnus in the if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device universe. So you're kind of like typecast, right? In that,
Yeah.
So they made this character look like Magnus, except he's a completely different character in some ways. You know, him
Yeah.
not being super demigod human, but. Yeah, but I highly recommend that. And they also do a Let's Play series of World of Darkness, which I highly recommend. I forgot what it is called, which is more Mage the Awakening-esque.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I never got into. To take Vampire Werewolf. That was basically most of my college and university.
Yeah, well,
and
I had
early
this
20s,
strange
but
because I look back very fondly on my Warhammer of my World of Darkness sessions. I mean, yeah, here it comes. There, he kind of had like players taking it all too far, like not necessarily in a bad way, but just you as a game master, you're just like, okay, I don't know what to do anymore, right? I'm throwing like all these plot elements, and every time they were doing all this stuff that I don't know what to do anymore,
yeah.
to keep this group together. So that's kind of like killed it, unfortunately. But like it was like because I've done Warhammer Roleplay, that's kind of like how I got started in TTRPGs. Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Roleplay, then of course D&D, Advanced D&D. I did some 3.5 D&D. I never enjoyed D&D. I never enjoyed fantasy that much. I was also really into reenactment, so you've got like this weird like you're trying to do everything accurately in this hobby, and then you've got like this whatever, I don't know. I still can't get into fantasy.
You don't need
like
to.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah, you got because is there any? So just before we look at the rule books, are there any sort of steampunk TV series, movies? Because it seems to be one of the genres where there's just this massive void.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's from a studio's perspective, it's a marketing issue.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I don't know how to put in the right keywords in Amazon, and I think a lot of marketers are like, well, we love the concept, but we don't know how to like market this. Do we market this to a fantasy audience? Do we market this to a sci-fi audience? Like alternate history? That's a bit of a niche, I mean, you've got some great alternate history series like For All Mankind, but that's the moon landing, right? So
yeah, there's the Man in the High Castle that did really well, didn't it? As well.
Yeah, I did not like that show that much.
I didn't like it. My wife didn't like it, so I didn't like it.
Yeah, okay, for you, you're one of those. But I mean, I thought I don't know. It needed. It felt like a third draft.
Yeah.
In how this.
Yeah.
It needed more time in the kitchen.
I didn't get the fuss, to be honest, but I think it's like Cthulhu. There's been the odd film, the odd TV series, and they don't really touch it. And now I don't think with the modern audience stuff, I don't think we're ever going to get anything because of the way people now perceive Lovecraft as a person.
I think like they're like Arcane identifies as steampunk. If you go to the Wikipedia page, Arcane is
Does it?
marketed as
Yeah.
it is. They say it's a steampunk series. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't call it steampunk, but like what I love about Arcane, like from my perspective, is that it uses a lot of techniques that are kind of forgotten in animation. They use a lot of German expressionism. I
Yeah.
love watching Arcane in black and white, and a lot of people say, "How dare you suggest it?" But seriously, watch Arcane in black and white.
Yeah.
At least the first season. I'm very reluctant to watch the second season. Because I really enjoyed the animation of the first season. But the problem with Arcane is that like the animation is top notch,
Yeah.
right? Let's put it out there. But the story itself is not terrible. It has a great execution, but when it actually comes to the story, you really notice this was originally written by two guys who did not know what they're doing, and then it was saved by a third writer who came in and fixed the problems.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I watched the making of Arcane. Highly recommended. I don't know if they did the same for the second season, but it falls into a lot of modern tropes, especially the bad ones. That's what I've heard about it.
Yeah. I didn't even. I watched a bit of the first series, and I never went back to it. Just I don't even think I finished it off, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the first season was good, but I thought like, are they gonna top this? But because there was also a lot of stuff where I'm like, why is this in there?
Yeah.
Right? Is this going anywhere? And that's kind of my issue. Like there are, because in many ways it's almost like a deconstruction of the original Metropolis. I don't know if you've seen that film from
No.
1920. Highly recommend it. It's free on YouTube. You've got no reason not to watch it. And then you'll find, wow, this really looks like Arcane. Because it has that same kind of dynamic. But where Metropolis, the problem is resolved, here in the like at the end of the second episode, it falls apart. Also, yeah, the character names of Freighter and Vendor are very similar. But anyway, like I really enjoyed because they use a lot of the same techniques that was used in Metropolis as well,
Yeah.
like the emphasis on shadows and all that, and lighting and all that stuff. But it's completely dragged down by the fact it's based on a game where all the characters are hyper powered. Like it really fell apart for me around the fight scenes.
Yeah.
That just did not match the theme of the rest of the story. That's my problem with it.
Yeah.
Like the power creep, as it were.
Yeah. Well, I'm not convinced I'm going to go back to it. So what I want to do now then is let's have a look at the rulebook and the art design and style of it. So
yeah. I just realized what we were really talking about, but let's have a look at the rulebook because I do have some things to say about it. But I think a lot of like one of the biggest when I started with steampunk, everyone was always talking about, okay, how do you explain steampunk? Well, have you seen Wild Wild West?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once,
even though it's
never again.
Yeah. It's a terrible movie, and I think that a lot of like the Hollywood culture is also really turned off by, wow, Where's this was a really terrible film. Let's not make anything that's similar to it.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't, I guess if it doesn't make money, they don't come back at it. That's the be all and end all.
Well, they made a lot of stuff that didn't make money.
True.
So,
that is true. Right, so I haven't got this laid out right. Hold on. I need to do that. There we go. That's laid out better now.
Yeah.
Now it looks like a rule book.
So, I didn't even know this was an option, to be honest, but there you go.
Right, okay. So about 200 pages, which is so this
somewhere is around that number. Yeah, well, probably a little less, or maybe I'm back at 200. Like I'm really changing the layout now, making more space. Like the margins are bigger now than they used to be.
Yeah. So this is a work in progress, I think you said to me.
Yes,
So
yes. That's why there's now stuff that's marked red.
right.
You
Yes.
know,
So are these the bits that are to be changed, or bits that have just come back in?
yeah,
Like,
or need to be reviewed at a later moment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
This is no. This one is going to be replaced. It's very similar to what it's now, but there are some inconsistencies that need to be changed.
Right. Okay. And then because so this is Travelers 1869. You said this was. Is that the year this is now based in?
1869. Yeah,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
before the Franco-Prussian War. That's intentional.
Yeah, yeah, because it was 1792, I think you said when.
Yeah,
Or
when
it,
it
yeah,
starts. So you've got about like nearly a century worth of yeah. Oh, ooh, that's interesting. I did not notice that. But yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So there's also short stories included in there as well. We've got some lore on the Netherlands.
I'm liking the fonts and the layout, which is always nice to see because it's nice and easy to read. And these little holes, which I know it sounds really silly, but it really sort of gives you that feel of a sort of proper dated document. Because
that's why I included them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's little things like that that I think can really twist how easy or interesting a book is to read. You know, when they're officially out.
Yeah, so for people are really reacting positively to the layout. Like there's still I think there are things that can be added, some small touches.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Is this getting into the factions now?
yeah, this is the factions chapter. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we're expecting there's a lot. Always amazes me how people even come up with names for factions. You know, some of them must be quite easy. But then
Yeah, some are like, oh, I just need an organization. And others like the West Africa Squadron is actually historical.
Yeah. Okay. And then what's this? What we on role playing? So,
Yeah.
is this more factions?
These are kind of like the special committees of the Association of Ishtar itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And is a lot of this already in your sort of books and novels and stuff as well? Is a lot of it pulled
not
out
everything. Some of it is, but like this is all like if you're have not read the books yet, there is a lot of new information in here.
Yeah.
Like most of it is actually from the lore videos that I've made.
Okay.
Because those talk more about the grand history of the world, whereas the books are really like self-contained stories. You don't need to have read any of the other books to be able to follow them. And yeah, so this is character creation.
Yeah, and that's just so you got four different. It's not working properly. Four different. Is that starting levels to create your characters? Then I assume.
Yeah, novice, experienced, veteran, and elite. Yeah,
which is also helpful when you kill a character off, and then they can jump back into the campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
That is quite a difficult thing, and it's like you've played Warhammer. Warhammer's quite easy because if you keep track of the experience you've given out to players, you can just give that out. 5th edition D&D, that's easy. Everyone's 8th level. If you make, but other games it can be quite difficult if you're not exactly tracking, can't it? So.
Yeah. So the greats, the big fonts, those are the skills.
Yeah.
And whenever you invest a point in a skill, you are allowed to pick a perk.
Okay. Is a perk like a special ability, like a feat type thing?
Some are, however, some give you like a range of knowledge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of knowledge skills in there, like you can become a chemist, you can become a biologist. Some perks have prerequisites.
So the big thing is the skill, and then the perks.
Yeah,
so
the melee is a skill, medicine is a skill, performance is a skill.
So wrestler's the perk, Savat, Budo, pugilism is the perk.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. Cool. Yeah.
So you can like make you can make a whole range. You've got a lot of freedom.
Really sort of specialize down into what you want to do, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's like if you are a low level character, you're basically a specialist. a guy who's like really into basically a modern day professional.
Yeah.
When you are growing into level, you can like diversify more.
And prices
But
and currency.
there's already a lot you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Weapons. This should be. Are we going to throw some artwork into the weapons? Is there going to be some?
Yeah, I'm still struggling with that because more artwork means more investments,
More cost. Also, I guess it's going to add page count as well, doesn't it? So which is always
that also needs to be included. But the problem with the page count is that I constantly insert and remove pages, so it's kind of irregular at the moment.
Any form of magic healing, or is it just standard?
No, it's like I said, it's really steampunk in the past.
Yeah.
So we don't really have magic. We have like an idea for an expansion in mind, but the problem with that expansion is that once you start using that system, it has what I call the World of Darkness problems. Where the Vampire the Masquerade problem. Like vampires are supposed to be like this super rare thing in World of Darkness. But when you start playing it, everyone is a fucking vampire.
Yeah, they're everywhere,
right? Yeah, and that's kind of like the problem when you include like or form of the magic. What I have in mind is that it will be that drawing is, by the way, by somebody from the community.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, the page before this one, you've got like that advertisement, that car advertisement. Yeah, that's by somebody, Mr. House from our Discord community.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't be right not to have a giant. I can't think Zeppelin type ships, aren't they? Was that yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah, it's a very rare technology. This particular one, like you can see, the balloon is not actually real. It's a fake balloon to hide what it actually is.
Ah, cool. So yeah, the page has gone out. We've stuck a bonus page in somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's one of those pages that, like, again, like I said, I am adding and removing pages all the time. So you get like the double splashes right now are not properly aligned.
Yeah, it's all gone wrong. It's fine. We can work it out. Absolutely fine. So this is the drones, the bit you're on about. So different drones and ships.
Yeah. This is this is the construction system, like how you build stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So it's nice. I say it's easy to follow, and this is NPC beastry type place, I'm guessing.
Yeah. You can see like all the creatures. Basically, all those numbers are just target numbers, essentially.
Yeah. That's a bit spoilery. Then we'll move past that. So that's ace. And then we are.
Yeah, that information disappeared. I need to repaste that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's basically a commercial.
That's it. And then there's cards and.
Yeah, it needs to be redone.
Yeah. Lots to do. So, have you got a time for when the Kickstarter's going out?
Well, I'm waiting for a lot of things to still be finished by other people. So I hope by the end of April. I'm working with somebody to make custom dice, which is also kind of an investment. So I hope they'll be selling because, again, I need to like buy 100 sets at least. But yeah, we're working on a set of custom dice. We're working on new STLs. Those guys still need to get started. So I can also include the previews in the Kickstarter. Quite useful, I think. What else? I'm waiting for some quotes to come in, and we still need to talk to a distributor. So yeah, it's a lot of waiting at the moment. And then I hope we can get started by the end of April. Then people also get their tax return, so that's a bonus. Or is that I hope to be able to do it in March. And now I've given up on. Okay, I'm not gonna give you any more predictions of when we can launch because it's ready when it's ready. The book is already very far in production, so it will not impact like the actual publication itself.
Yeah, I think the key thing is for everyone watching this, jump on the Discord, help out with playtesting, back the project, do the VIP, and also look for, because obviously sign up for the Kickstarter now, all of which we'll share in the video description.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, brilliant. I've really enjoyed this. So, and I can't actually wait for your project to go on. So this has been.
Oh, you can already play it. You can do let's plays on your channel.
I've got the rules now, so I can play test it with my friends, and we'll be on the Discord, sort of throwing it back. But yeah, right. So thank you for coming on. I've had an absolute great time, as ever. So this is Bonsart from Radio Retro Future. So again, we'll put your YouTube channel on. So thanks for coming on Dungeons and Dyslexia. For everyone else, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Back and Kickstarter, pre-back it, do the VIP, get your cards. Don't forget to buy the dice when the Kickstarter launches. And go and buy the books on Amazon. Say all the links and stuff will be in the video.
No, we'll buy them on the Kickstarter because I need to buy the books by hundreds as well. So
okay, buy them on the Kickstarter. Ignore Amazon.
That's what I'm most nervous about.
Yeah, Amazon makes enough money, so
I wish. I have still yet to crack the Amazon code.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Right. I'll see you on the next. Well, I'll see you again. I'm sure I'll have you on because once the Kickstarter goes live. So
awesome. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks for your time.